The views expressed on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Recovery Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this episode should not be taken as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guests. KHLT and Take 12 Recovery Radio are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Well, greetings, my friends. I am the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and this is the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. And now, here are your Came to Believe Recovery podcasting broadcasters to launch us forth on this week's show.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. If you are watching us, you might see an extra person today. We are joined with Dale Barker, and of course we have Tom and Monty. Hi, guys.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Alicia.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Look at Dale popped in. It was like, whoa, where are you, Tom?
How are you in the same place as Tom?
Yeah, and it wasn't even AI. It's really Dale. It's really him. Although
Yeah.
I gotta ask, where's your Hawaiian shirt? Or do you not truly wear them every day?
Well, we're going to a meeting later, and Tom, you don't wear Hawaiian shirts to official meetings.
There you go.
See,
Unless you're in Maui or something, right?
he's teachable.
I'm willing.
my-
I'm
Along
willing to go.
Spiritual Alliance, Monty.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
I'll tell you guys though, where we are is we're in Winter Park, Florida. We're at Steve and Sue Foreman's home, which Steve is the remaining. Steve and Sue were founders of the Came to Believe movement and writers of the Legacy Guide, and so we're here visiting. So
That's cool. That
hallowed
is-
ground. They wouldn't think so, but we can say it's hallowed ground.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
They're
Today's
my
gonna- Today's
My
gonna
wife
be-
married here, Monty.
You got married there?
Yeah,
At their
Wow.
house?
at the Foreman's.
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
really
know
cool.
that.
That is really cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, well, this week's going to be another incredible story of experience, strength, and hope. Alicia's going to be sharing her story with us.
But first, it's time for the Came to Believe Recovery Icebreaker.
Indeed.
Where's our little song? Our little.
What you gonna do when she says goodbye? What you gotta do when she is gone? So you wanna know what Alicia's shirt says? Well, you better check it out before she goes. 'Cause you may not be seeing things just the way you should, but Alicia's shirt is saying what everybody knows. What you gonna do?
That's right. It is time to find out what Alicia's shirt says this week.
Yes.
Boy, we're getting a lot of background hiss. That's right. I'll take care of it real quickly.
Got it?
There
Now?
we go. I'll just
All
do
right,
that
here's
for
my
just a
shirt.
second. What's it say? It says January girl. Okay. Hated by many, loved by plenty.
Heart.
Okay, it's hard to. Heart on her sleeve.
Fire in her soul, and a mouth she can't control. I don't know about the last one. I don't think I have a mouth I can't control, but maybe thoughts.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think, I have a mouth I can't control. That's why I have a wonderful wife that helps me keep it shut, particularly when I know I'm right?
Yeah. I have to tell you though, Monty, the song for her shirt was
Yeah.
by far the worst one ever.
Thank you to Pablo Cruz and Cecil.
That was ridiculous. Yeah.
That's part of the whole thing. We like
Tom.
to make
Well,
songs avoid.
Yeah, we
Right.
do. And we also like to add a little senseless and useless information.
Yes.
All right, the chicken came before the egg, according to the Bible. Think about it. It is possible to lead a cow upstairs, but they don't like going downstairs. I knew that. I had seen that or something. I don't know what. Maybe it was an episode on a sitcom. The placement of a donkey's eyes in its head allows them to see all 4 feet at the same time. Now, aren't you just a better person for knowing that?
Really?
Don't know.
Hummingbirds are the only animals. What do you think? What do you think they're the only animal that does this?
Hover.
Flies back.
What'd you say?
Flies backwards.
Flies backwards. That's it. Yeah,
Ah.
you got
What do I win?
it. They're the only animal that flies backwards.
The only bird.
And the last piece of useless information, huh? No, they're the
That's the
only
only-
animal. Period.
Well, a horse can walk backwards.
You know, I mean, you've got mosquitoes. They don't fly backwards.
Oh, well, the flying
You
animals.
know, flying gnomes. They don't fly backwards. Flying monkeys.
Wizard of Oz.
I'm just saying. All right, yeah, today is National Answer Your Cat's Question Day.
That's pointless.
Meow. There you go. Useless and pointless and mindless information. You got any pointless, useless, and mindless information, Dale, to share with us?
It's 55 and rainy here in Florida today.
55 and rainy. What happened to sunny Florida?
It's liquid sunshine, Monty.
Oh, hey, I like that. Alicia, any useless and mindless information to share with the listeners? No?
I went running yesterday. I haven't ran since
She's
August.
thinking. She's thinking. Tom, you went running? Okay.
That's pointless. and
Okay,
useless.
Tom, any useless and mindless information to beat running yesterday?
No, and I usually do have something, but I don't today.
I know you don't. You don't. All right. Well, that does it for the icebreaker. All right. We'll be back right after this with Alicia's experience, strength, and hope. Alicia's testimony. Don't go away. Hey there. If you're one of our listeners tuning in on a major podcasting platform, did you know that you can watch us broadcast this show and all of our episodes on YouTube? That's right. You can see our smiling faces and positive demeanor in the video versions of our broadcasts. Simply visit our website at take12radio.com and click on the YouTube icon. And don't forget to subscribe to all of our shows for fun and for free. That's take12radio.com. Just click on the YouTube icon.
This is Roddy Erickson, and you are listening to the Recovery Talk and Positive Music Take 12 Radio.
Yeah, Roddy Erickson. So Roddy's back, everybody. Just so you know, give a little update there. Our buddy Roddy is back on the horse and doing well. And just wanted to let you know that. I know we've all been praying
Awesome.
for him.
I recognize his voice. He has that scruffy voice.
Yeah.
When I met him in Portland, right?
Portland
The
City team. Sure. So, but before we get into Alicia's story, so for the listeners' sake, I just want to again let them know we welcome Dale Barker, just a huge part of the Came to Believe recovery program, ministry, etc. And he just jumped on here a minute ago. We're glad you did. It's cool to have you on, man. And once again, tell the listeners what you're doing in Florida, besides living in Florida.
Well, I volunteer at the Salvation Army here in Orlando, the ARC, which we're going to a meeting there today to discuss the future retreat we're going to be doing here. I'm married, 30 years, March. Have a 36-year-old daughter that is doing quite well because of the spiritual principles I practice in all my affairs. I taught her a way to live that doesn't include alcohol and drugs, and she bought into it. So we live over on the east side of Orlando, where it's nice and there's no traffic still.
Sweet.
And his daughter is named Alicia, and her and I have the same birth date.
Wow.
Right.
Which you just celebrated a few days ago, right?
Yes, the 16th. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm quite a bit older than her, but same birth date and same name.
Yeah. Well, happy belated birthday. And we are glad that you are on this side of the grass and are also such a huge part of Came to Believe, and particularly the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. So you look healthy today. You got a smile on your face. You're involved in God's work, but it wasn't always like that, right, Alicia? What was going on?
It wasn't. My addiction started at age 15, and I had eating disorders and started drinking at the same time, basically. And yeah, I was shy and timid and didn't know how to talk to people, so I thought drinking could help me out in that regard. And I wanted to get attention from men and boys and everybody, so I thought if I could get really skinny, that would work. So those two happened together, and that's where it started.
Were you overweight, or just you thought you were?
I thought I was. I mean, I wasn't super skinny. I weighed this a little less than I do now, but no muscle. So as a 15-year-old girl, I wasn't fat. No, but I wasn't.
You
In the
just lost
80s,
it.
right, the
There
thing
you
was
are.
to
There
be
you
like
are.
really skinny. So yeah, I wanted to be skinnier.
Your internet is going zippity doo dah for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Go
Is
ahead.
it back? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so then I just stayed in that state for a long time and started to see that I had a problem when I was 24 with alcohol. I never thought I had a problem really with food. And I went to AA in 94 and just went to a few meetings and thought that was fine. I didn't do the steps. I didn't get a sponsor. So I white knuckled it and stopped drinking. But then I kept my eating disorders for another 25 years. So I just kept, obviously I didn't do the steps, or I would see that I had a problem and addiction with food as well as drinking. And I didn't see that.
So you were just attending meetings, drinking bad coffee, and what did you do? Did you think you were doing the steps because you saw them on the wall, or what? What was going on there?
I know I only went to a few meetings, maybe 4 or 5, and then thought I can just do it on my own. So I didn't do the steps. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just continued with the food and the crazy behaviors and never did the steps.
So was there a monumental event or something subtle, or what happened to make you actually say, yeah, maybe I need to approach this differently?
I would say, when I was in my late 30s and I was married to my current husband now, and just seeing that I can't do this anymore. with the food, and I was hiding, and I was starving myself, and then I was binging and over exercise, and I was exhausted and knew that, I mean, I can't do this forever. When I'm in my 50s, which I am now, there's no way I can continue. And I was miserable. And I just needed to find a way to not be so miserable, and doing that and finding solace in food, which wasn't helping. It was making it worse. And exercising was terrible.
Were you over exercising to compensate the calories that you were taking in? Is that why you were doing that, or?
Yeah, because I would starve myself, and then I would overeat because I was so hungry. And then I thought exercise would keep me and lose that weight. But and it didn't. I stayed the same, actually. And yeah, you can't exercise out a bad diet. You just can't. Because I was exercising over 40 hours a week, and nothing was changing.
Holy moly.
Getting more miserable and more miserable.
But isn't it also about like the endorphin rush you got from exercising, and that it makes you feel good at that high feeling? Was it all about the diet and the joint, or was it also about how it made you feel good about yourself and when you had that high? Because I know that can be a thing with exercise.
Yeah, I don't think I had that then. I feel I have that now. But my motive back then was wrong. So the only reason why I exercised was to look better and to get rid of the food that I ate, or get rid of the shame that I was feeling. So the motive was wrong. And I didn't want to think. So I just exercised all day long so that I wouldn't have to look at my life.
Do you think that perhaps, kind of speaking to Tom's point, do you think that perhaps the dopamine rush that was happening, because you're probably having it even though you're recognizing it's the motivation that's driving you, the wrong motivation, but perhaps the dopamine rush was happening and you didn't even realize it, right? I mean, you can't help, I mean, the body can't help but produce dopamine when you are doing that, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably, yeah.
So let me ask you: do you now see, is there a lot of parallels? I mean, we know, we talk about on this podcast as well as others. We talk about the symptoms, right? The outward manifestation of the inward condition, and the outward manifestation has its own problems, sure, but the inward condition is really the problem. We have a God-shaped hole. We're trying to fill it with everything else, but do you see parallels and things in common with food addiction as with alcoholism and narcotic addiction?
Yeah, I think, well, I was running to the food and running to exercise, and running literally away from my problems, and my defects of character, which I wasn't looking at, was just fueling that addiction. And I wasn't being honest with myself. There was a lot of things that if I was looking, that I could see that I needed to fix relationships in my life, and I needed to learn how to communicate, because I didn't know how to communicate. I just ran to the food or starved myself and went to the gym. And so that was the root I needed to look at, but instead I masked it with food and exercise and denial and isolation.
So I got a question for Tom here. Tom, you're a fitness guy. You run, you do 5K, 10K, you do the Tunnel for Towers thing, and you're in the gym a fair amount of time. True.
True.
Do you see addictive behavior going on, behind these weight machines and treadmills and so forth? Do you see it all the time?
All the time. I go to a gym in New York City, and I see a couple of, and I don't know why it's generally always women that I see, but I mean, I'll see these same couple of women, and I'll walk in at some hour, and they're on the stair climbing machines, and they're tiny little nothing. And like an hour and a half later, you leave, they're still on the machine every single day. There's something going on because there's nothing healthy. There's nothing legitimately fitness related to be able to be doing that like that. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, what's going on there? Yes, absolutely see it all the time. And when I worked in the fitness industry, we would have to talk to people sometimes. We had somebody come into our gym and get on a Stairmaster for 2.5 hours every day. And I mean, we at one point, because we have some responsibility, it was a YMCA system, so there was some, ethical responsibility that we took, that one of the bosses went up and said, listen, this is not healthy behavior. And so, yeah, it's a thing because that dopamine rush, people replace it, that calming effect, that thing that makes you forget everything, that thing that makes you comfortable. It can be really triggered, and it's a self-esteem thing. And if you have terrible view of yourself and you just have to be skinny, it's all the wrong things to do. You go into starvation mode. Sometimes you won't lose a pound doing it. But yes, I see it all the time.
Yeah. So Dale, let me ask you, and most people that are listening to this podcast by now know that this is all faith-based, and we worship the God who is God. And
Dale, let's just let me interrupt. Dale does not have an exercise addiction problem.
I don't think Monty was going there.
Sorry, brother.
He's just mean, Dale. Do you think if somebody who really has a hunger after the Word of God and a relationship with God and so forth, do you see exercise and food addiction, can that be an idol?
Well, it can be, certainly. I mean, I was a sports addict.
Oh, you were?
I played all the sports in my 20s, and I ended up having knee surgeries on both my knees.
Ooh.
And I worked a lot. I averaged 60 hours a week for 20 years at work.
Wow.
So there wasn't time to exercise in my life. But when I retired from work, I was very competitive, and I was a golf pro. So there still was no time for exercise because I was practicing all the time. And it's just a way to feel, like Alicia said, it's a way to not have to think about yourself. If you're trying to master something golf is not a game you can master. It's a game of mistakes. And you have to minimize and manage mistakes. And it turned out to be a great lesson for the 12 steps because we do a 10th step every day to look at ourselves.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, there are things that I call them coping mechanisms. People think they're good things, but why not just deal with it and then move on and then grow away from that? So that's how I look at it today. Far from perfect. I am not perfect, but I do a certain amount of walking every day because, I want to age well.
Sure. So Alicia, kind of to Dale's point that it's a good thing. Do you think we fall into this thing because, well, at least I'm not shooting dope, at least I'm not smoking crack, at least I'm not, abusing the little woman, I'm not abandoning my family, I'm exercising, and I'm eating right. And so this is my question for you, because I told Roger on Monday's show that I was going to ask this.
Okay.
Alicia, in all fairness, isn't there more to life than steak, hamburger meat, and eggs? We got to do something, man. We got to get a little more creative here, kid, because I'm really getting sick of. I'm trying bacon and pork. I mean, I get it. Isn't there more, or maybe not? What do you think?
It depends on the context that you're asking. Like, if you have to be entertained by food, then that's a problem that you would need to deal with, not me as a carnivore. I don't feel that.
Great. She just pulled my covers back on me.
Food is fuel. And not saying that everybody needs to be carnivore, but if you have underlying diseases and addiction and stuff, then try carnivore. It's not going to hurt you, but it helped me get rid of the food noise. I have no sugar running in my blood for sugar spikes and sugar falls.
Right.
I don't have that. I'm not saying I never have an urge. I mean, I will see things and remember how it tasted and whatever. And so, but like, what context were you asking, or is that just?
I don't know. I was just, my wife was eating something the other day, and I was like, "Oh, that looks really good," And here I am. I'm making because I think I mentioned before, we go to a place called Better Beef because it's all local grown, and so I'm making my burger, right? And I got my egg on there because I look at your pictures. Oh, okay, she put the egg over here instead of over here today. That was the only difference. Oh, I got it down on the different side of the plate. Oh boy, I'm being creative. And I'm like, I'm really getting sick of this egg and meat thing. So I told Roger, I'm going to ask, there's got to be more to life, right? Right. So I'm kind of tongue in cheeking it, but yeah. So
No, it
send
makes
me
me
some
feel-
recipes or something, because I'm.
Well, there's carnivore cookbooks. I have 2 of them. But
Yeah.
again, I'm not, I can eat the same thing every day, and I eat twice a day, and I can eat
So
same
I mean,
thing.
you don't even like vegetables and fruit.
Not that I don't like them, I just don't eat them.
You
They're
just don't.
not-
So, but to Dale's point, let me go because I kind of went down a rabbit trail. To Dale's point, though, can we think something is good because in every other aspect, I hate to say the word even normies, we don't like to use that, but for lack of a better term, people that can do these things and have balance and everything. So, I mean, this has got to be a good thing, right? How could this be bad for me to go to the gym? How could this be bad for me to get up early and walk? And how, I mean, the 12 and 12, the book in Alcoholics Anonymous talks about our instincts being thwarted, the God-given instincts, and we twist them and everything. Is that what we're doing? But isn't it good for us to do these things? I mean, I kind of know the answer to this, but because I know
Right.
listeners are going, yeah, but my gosh, I gave up the dope, I gave up the sugar, and I'm exercising. I mean, leave me alone, man. At least I'm healthy.
Yeah, but it depends on what their motive is. My motive in my addiction was to punish myself for the shame that I had for what I was eating. And I was exercising 40 hours a week. That is not normal. And I wasn't doing Zumba or stretch classes.
Yeah,
I was
that's
doing
kinda-
cycle, boot camp, running, weightlifting, and all the hard stuff. And on Mondays alone, I had 9 classes. And some people don't even work out 9 hours a week. That was my
A
Monday.
little obsessive.
And I would rationalize and say, it's my job, because it was. But hello, it was 39 classes a week, and then I would run in between because I didn't have classes between 1 and 4. So I would go running. And that's not normal. That's not normal.
Dale put his hand up. Are you obsessive, Dale?
I'm food motivated.
You're
Monty.
food motivated.
Food
What does that
motivated.
mean? What does that mean?
It's a emotional experience for me, like an artist, right?
Oh yeah, I get
It's
that.
like the gravies and the sauces and the way things are prepared and combined, and sharing that experience with somebody can be a problem for me, because I tend to get, like the holidays. I mean, I just ate like a cow, which means I ate everything my mouth was supposed to.
And remember, if you go upstairs, you can't go downstairs if you're a cow.
So I was going to go pick up Tom at the airport this morning, and I went to put a pair of pants on that no longer fit. I mean, it just wore them 3 months ago.
I was going to say, did they fit before Christmas?
Yeah, they fit before the holidays, and now so that tells me, yeah, you need to get back to what you were doing, what Alicia showed you to do, eating healthier, because as we age, our bodies change.
Right.
I used to be able to, and I used to burn a lot of calories, and now more of a retired person than I am a go-getter. So I need to step up my game. I need to, and it's incentive. Talking about it is what we need to do. We're as sick as our secrets. That's what we always teach. If you're hiding things, that's the problem, because it leads to a lot of things if you're not honest about it.
So let's, there's a difference here, and people will say, but I just love sweets. I mean, I just love this food. I mean, my eyes see it, I love it. Do you love it, or are you addicted to the sugar? And there's two. This is what it probably is that you love it because you need the sugar. And it's not
because there's
really
a chemical dependency. Is that what you're saying?
It's a chemical dependency. Yeah, your body is craving sugar, and you're not. The sugar's controlling you, and you're masking it by saying, "I just love all this food. I just love all this. I need to eat these things, and I'm terrible because I don't get to eat this good stuff anymore." It never was good stuff. It was addictive. I mean, have you ever heard anybody saying, "I love liquor. I love to drink"? Alcoholics that really love this, they can't stop. So they say they love it, but really, it's a sugar addiction. I mean, alcohol's sugar. Actually, sugar's the most addictive substance on earth. And this is the problem with food, is that people are masking, people are denying that they are needing this food. They do need it more than they want it. And sugar's doing more than just putting weight on you. Look into it a little bit more. It's wreaking havoc in your health by eating sugar like this. And diabetes and all sorts of things, cancer, there's things, heart disease.
All of it is sugar and food.
And so if one thing that we can be unanimous on, I mean, everybody, the vegans, the vegetarians, everybody, is that processed sugar is something we shouldn't have. And you should have it in small quantities.
Right. And if you have diabetes or autoimmune disease or heart disease, then you need to look at all carbs, not just processed sugar.
You do.
Rice,
even the so-called good ones,
bread turns to sugar. Once you eat it, it is sugar. 1 cup of rice is 45 grams of carbs, which is 11 teaspoons of sugar in 1 cup of rice. So don't eat it.
The rice is the worst. Yeah.
So
and bread and pasta, it's all sugar.
Yeah. So we
Quinoa,
talking about like addiction and recovery. So it was interesting.
Move your mic a little bit towards. There you go.
When Alicia said it right at the beginning, she said, that alcohol was a problem for her, and she decided to stop. But that she dealt with one of the symptoms. She dealt with one of the things, but her real issues were just continued with food. They weren't as damaging to her, at least in her brain. I'm just putting words in your mouth, Alicia, but I think this is what. So you didn't solve anything. You just addiction switched, really. You just
same bus. You just switched seats.
Yeah, so now to something that on the surface was not as. It's not as socially unacceptable, right? I'm doing exercise like you said. Oh, it's my job. But you really never addressed. And this is what people do, guys, I think. And I think and I wonder, Alicia, had you found us or found a group that does what we do, because we know we're not the only ones, that made you look deeper and seek a solution for the things driving why you were drinking back then, would it have had more of an effect on the rest of the things that then, had you in bondage for 25 years until you got released? I wonder, what do you think?
I think, yes, if I would have the ability to be honest. Because I don't think I was really, really honest until, I was starting to be honest in 2018. That's when I said I really have a problem with food and maybe exercise.
Was that when you started CR?
Yeah, and I went to CR, and then I was getting honest, but not until, I found Came to Believe in 2021. That's when, because CR, I did the steps. It took 16 months to do them. So, I did those 4 books they have, and I loved it because I loved the counseling stuff and looking at all my stuff. And then I
Sure.
did it again. But until I did the retreat, I didn't see how the steps work together and how they interact and staying in 10, 11, and 12. I didn't know any of that. So once I heard that, and then the more, I'm still learning, right? So it was only a few years ago. And it's just so my ability to be completely honest and having God work in my life and then seeing how the steps are supposed to be done, that's when the light bulb went on for me.
So that was your aha moment, was the came to believe experience with particularly 10, 11, and 12?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's ongoing. It's not like one moment I'm like, oh my gosh. I think it's just an ongoing thing that I'm learning and seeing like it's working, and the obsession is like gone. And I don't know if this is an excuse, but I find myself thinking or saying too of like, ugh, it's just
Just lost
hard.
you again.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Come on back. It's going to be an editing day. Oh, there you are. You were
Okay.
saying that you didn't know if it was an excuse, but
Yeah, to say that, I mean, food is so much harder than alcohol, but I don't know if that's a true statement, but because we have to eat and everybody is pushing the food and it's like the acceptable addiction. Everybody does the sugar and the food and then exercise too. It's a good thing. But if I'm completely, go ahead.
do you think with every truth or with every lie there's a little truth, right? Do you think the statement, well, it's all about portion control? Okay, do you think that statement is used as justification to have just a little bit? As long as I only have one donut, as long as I only have a little gravy or whatever, do you think it's used as an excuse, as a justification?
Well, I think it could be, but again, it depends on the context and who's saying it.
Yeah.
Because some people can moderate and some people need to abstain. So just like with alcohol, if you can moderate your alcohol, then you're not an addict. I cannot moderate a donut. If I have one
Right.
donut, I'm going to eat 87 donuts.
So I'm going to get in trouble for this, and I don't care.
Go for it.
I think so. I had a Bible college president when I was going to college speak to the dorm. We were all first year students, and he said on the subject of alcohol, he goes, "I'm not going to tell you that having a beer is going to cause you to lose your salvation, but it's stupid." And I've never forgotten that. And I'm thinking, okay, it's a toxin, for crying out loud. And so are many processed foods, right? And so is sugar.
Sugar is toxic to your
Sugar is
body.
toxic. So why in the world, particularly, I'm going to go down a rabbit trail, I just know it, particularly the faith community, why in the world, when we know something is toxic, as followers of God who wants the best for it, why would we intentionally not only put a little bit in our bodies, but a lot? I mean, I see it all the time. Christians posting pictures of having Bible studies with 5 bottles of wine sitting in front of them. I don't get it.
Well, it's in the Bible. Jesus drank. It's just not to get drunk, right?
Yeah, but you have to look at, I don't know any believer that believes that being intoxicated is okay. But then you got to look at what was intoxication back in the New Testament. What was it? They couldn't ferment past 2%. It turned to vinegar. They couldn't do it. So strong drink was 2%. What do you have today? I'm sorry, but if you're drinking 2 or 3 glasses of wine at the Bible study and you're not an alcoholic, but I'm sorry, you're influenced by it. But isn't it the case with food too? I mean,
But they don't get drunk on the food. So
no, but you get sick.
yeah, but people don't see that. They
I
think
know.
that's
I
normal
know.
to feel.
I don't know. I want to get Dale's opinion on this. What do you think about that? What do you think about people that can? Well, there's people that can drink. I mean, I guess that's true, but is it wise?
Well, I don't think most people really are interested in whys.
Oh,
Most
good point.
most
Good
people
point.
are consumed with the day-to-day trials and tribulations they have to overcome
Yeah.
in this world. Because there's only 10% of the people are like us, Monty, that can't drink,
Yeah.
that are unsuccessful at it, that
Right.
get addicted to it. The rest of the people, the 90% of the people, don't see alcohol as a problem.
Right. No, you're right.
If it's not a problem, you're not willing to change it. You're not going to ask God to help you.
Right. Even if it is, but you don't believe it is, or you don't think it is, then you're not
It-
gonna.
I didn't live under a bridge, so I didn't think I was an alcoholic.
Yeah. Right.
So our thinking is different than their thinking in some ways. And it's the same way for me with food. I mean, I've changed the way I eat. I have successfully eaten my way and exercised my way out of diabetes twice.
Yeah.
And then fallen right back towards it.
Yeah.
Because the discipline, the things happen, I make exceptions, it becomes a pattern, because I'm an addictive personality. I'm an addictive person. And then I work back out of it again. It's not, I don't know that it's hard. Like Alicia said, food is hard.
Yeah.
Tom, he's been the same weight ever since I've ever known him for 30 years. I don't, but I have increased my exercise level, and I just don't have a program, right? I'm not
Right.
the exercise guy.
Right. Right.
But when I go to the doctor and I look on my sheet, it says obese, and I don't like it.
Isn't that technically 10 pounds over your ideal weight,
30.
supposedly?
30 pounds.
30 pounds?
Yeah.
So Monty, I'm with you, and I'll go down this rabbit hole too. When you drink alcohol, Normie, even anybody, that people, I need a break, I need to go relax after work. That whole
Right.
that relaxing feeling, that release, that feeling when you feel the alcohol. It's what's actually happening biologically is you're poisoning yourself.
Yes.
Intoxication is a poisoning. This chemical is changing your brain. You're poisoning. It's not a relaxing, healthy thing. And I think people just know what you're doing. You're not. It's not like running and exercising or walking home and feeling better because you've released some stress. It's a poison. I often think like the aliens, if there were, or God, come down and look at a bunch of people that leave work and go sit around a wooden table, a wooden bar, and pour poison in themselves and say, what's going on with this society of people? Like, what is it that you need to be released from?
Products.
Right. And to think this is where entertainment is I have to pour poison into my body. Even if they're not alcoholic, even if they're not addicted to it, it's still a silly thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm terrible. I've got a little cynical about it, but but I'll go down because you kind of went down the road, Monty. I'm going down it too. And I'm not judging if you guys can do it, but I would say, I've said to people I know, so why do you need to feel released? Wouldn't there be why don't you solve the problem of why you need this release rather than going to get the release? And they go, oh. They say, like,
So to Dale's point, then, we're not as concerned as much with being wise as we are. We want to change the way we feel, right?
Yeah.
Right, because we don't like the way we feel. So if I can change it, if I can change it quickly, it doesn't matter if it's. I know it's toxic. Most people will say, "Yeah, we know alcohol's toxic, but I drink in moderation." Oh, so so arsenic. I just drink arsenic in moderation. So it's okay. But it's all about the same thing, isn't it, Alicia? I mean, I want to change the way I feel. I want to change the way I look at things when I'm this way. I don't like it. So I'm going to change the way I feel over here, even if it's just really quickly. Right? Because I remember in high school getting up in the middle of the night and tiptoeing into the kitchen, not to wake my parents up, and making not one sandwich, but a couple of them and eating them really fast. Something is very similar to that. And when I went to my dad's liquor cabinet and drank it really fast. Why? Because I knew it was wrong. I didn't want to get caught by mom and dad. And I there was something about I knew I was going to face shame if somebody saw me. Right? I instinctively knew that back then.
Yeah. That's what overeaters and binge eaters do. It's never in public. I would never eat all that food in front of anybody.
Right.
That's embarrassing. It was always in secret when everybody's asleep or nobody's home or whatever. And then the shame comes on, and then I try to starve myself and exercise it away. Also in secret, pretending that I was eating when I wasn't. And so that's a problem. And I wish I knew about carbs and sugar and carnivore back then, because it would have solved my problem with the food, at least. But I didn't know.
I was watching a news thing, and one of my favorite talking heads got into an argument with a gal who was on the other side of the fence politically, and I don't know how it got to it, but she was like, well, I mean, he's carnivore. And she said, well, you may have to think about that. You're probably going to have a heart attack and die because of, all the fat that you're eating. And he goes, actually, no, I feel better than I ever have in my life. She goes, oh, yeah, you're just fooling yourself. You need to eat grains and oats and blah, blah, blah. And they got into this thing, and he just said, no, I'm not going to do it. But I was watching this, and it was, I'm just going to say, it was Hannity. It was Hannity because he's carnivore, and he was saying this, and then he started talking about God and the Lord and stuff like, and I thought, this is in every aspect of our life, this whole addiction thing and the disagreements behind it and the I mean, you go from Fauci to who's the lady that was involved in the TV show, or the people that were massively overweight and they did all this exercise and then
Jillian Michaels.
Yeah, so you go from one end of the spectrum, you got her, everything in between, and then you got Fauci, and then you got Bill W, and then you got the pastor so-and-so. I mean, it's in everything. Are we making a difference? Are we making a difference, Alicia, doing the work we're doing, or are we just spinning our wheels?
I hope so. I feel that.
And she froze up
now.
Again. Hello.
Uh-oh. Am
Well,
I
I think
still
we're
frozen?
making a difference. I mean, I think we are.
I think we are too.
But I think, Monty, your point of, Alicia's story and your point is important, because we can't just let addiction and brokenness be guardrailed by alcohol and drugs and substances like that.
Right.
There is addiction in our behavior, with food, with exercise, with other things, gambling, work, sex, everything that changes how you feel. And to enlighten that even us, I manifested alcohol and drugs, but I had all the stuff that Alicia, I could have been the Alicia as well. If I have a piece of carrot cake, I want 3 pieces of carrot cake. I mean, I have to watch this stuff, I have one. But I think that we are making a difference, and I think we need to make a difference. I think we need to continue to what we do. I came to believe when we do retreats to say it's what's behind it. It's what's behind our lives. It's what's behind having us not in success, whatever that is. Yes, we remove the substances, but what else has got you not being successful in life? What else has you at the doctor all the time? What else has your depression? What else has you not in your relationship? What else you not be able to communicate? What else can this process help to reverse in your life to give you balance? We need to continue to stand on the hillside and say 10, 11, and 12, and if you don't know what 10, 11, and 12 is, you can come to one of our retreats, is a process that keeps us balanced in everything every day. And it's why, guys, we can say recovered. And we can say that we're growing always, not perfect, but always growing with a solution. I think we're making a difference. I think we need to continue to make a difference. I think we need to keep the exact message that we're sharing at the moment, mostly within kind of the confines of Salvation Armies and rehab centers. I'm committed, and I know the team here, you guys all are committed to us going everywhere, because this problem is not just within the walls of the rehabs. It's outside the walls of the rehabs. And so I think we are. I think we need to be. I think Alicia's story is something we need to be sharing all the time, and she's one of our senior leaders and comes and shares it. And Alicia, I think you need to share it even more. I think we need to find a way for you to bring even more of the aspects of the things that you dealt with and deal with into our program. So that you didn't ask for closing thoughts, but that.
No, but well said. Well said. Alicia, so you refer to yourself as recovered. Mm-hmm. So expound on that a little bit. Recovered from what? Recovered what?
Right. Hey.
Well, I would say I'm recovered from the obsession and the constant thoughts of food and exercise. I keep boundaries and borders around my food to keep me structured. Some people might think that that's an addiction in itself, for cutting out a food group. I don't eat sugar. I don't eat carbs, but it keeps me safe, and I have food freedom because of that, and I don't feel restricted, and I'm fit and strong. Yeah. So the obsession is gone, but I need to stay in 10, 11, and 12 because the thoughts can come back, and I'm around food, and I travel, and it's uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah. So we have a solution, right? It's so funny because I'll talk to people that have been going to 12-step meetings for years, specifically AA, lots of times. And they'll go, is there a solution? I go, yeah, there's a chapter called that. Well, where can I learn more about alcoholism? Well, there's a chapter called that. How do I work with people? There's a chapter called that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Alicia, why do people just go to meetings and not go any further? Is it because we just want a quick solution and we don't want to do the work? Because you've done the work.
Well, I did now. I didn't before.
You didn't before. So one time you could identify with that.
Yeah, and I wasn't even going to meetings either.
Yeah, right.
White knuckling and miserable. And it doesn't work. Yeah, I think our culture, our people, me included, are lazy, and we want the quick fix, and they want to just tell me what to eat, tell me what. No, you have to know your motives, and you need to figure out what works for your body. But people just want the quick, how to do it fast. I want to lose 20 pounds by next week. Well, that's not going to happen.
Right. Wow. So you are living in the solution today. It doesn't mean that things aren't tempting, right? It doesn't mean that there isn't opportunities for the enemy of your soul to pounce on you or your own ego to get raised up or whatever. But it does mean you're living in the solution. And that's where we want to be, right, Dale?
That's exactly where we want to be.
Yeah.
Because, I learned a long time ago, Monty, that who you see, what you see here, I'm a spirit, right? Spirit's eternal.
Yeah.
This body I live in, this old car I'm driving around, it is perishable, and it's opposed to God. It's the Spirit's job to try to wrangle the body into doing what it's supposed to do to accomplish God's purpose. And our feelings will just follow along if we trust God and do what he wants us to do every day. But, I'm not consistent with that. I'm consistent enough not to drink alcohol because that, problem's been removed.
Yeah.
But the food thing, it's something I just have to deal with. I mean, I've got a wife who has to deal with it. She's not got the healthiest diet. My daughter doesn't have the healthiest diet. And those are the people I like to eat with. So it's a challenge. But, I watch my wife with her health and how much she ministers to people and with her music and what she creates. And I just think, did you saw The Chosen, right?
Yeah.
Well, you saw when James asked Jesus why he didn't heal him. He had a condition that he didn't heal, and Jesus told him those people like you need somebody like you to minister to them.
Yeah.
So are you willing to be that person?
Right.
So not 100% healthy. So that's a lesson for me. Is I'm doing pretty good, not as good as Tom. Not as good as Alicia in physical, but in spiritual, and my feelings don't drag me around.
Yeah.
So, it's all things are allowed, not all things are good for us. It's just a part of being human on this earth.
Yeah.
This time.
Indeed. That's good. That's good closing thoughts. So we'll continue to move in that direction. Tom, closing thoughts?
Well, I don't, those are really, that is, in all seriousness, I totally agree with Dale, and it's inspiring. But really, him saying that I'm doing better than him is really something I don't hear very often. So I got to take that with me. At least that's my joke.
You'll never live that down.
That's my joke about it. But in seriousness, no, honestly, it's true. That's what we're really here to do. If we let every little failure or every little imperfection that we have rule us, we'll never do anything good. We're never going to be perfect. But our mission and our God is perfect. And we go every day and just keep going. And if we do that, that's what we need to be doing. And don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah. Amen. Alicia, closing thoughts.
I would say be honest, and if you are struggling with anything, alcohol, food, porn, do the 12 steps, actually do them. And there are meetings that you can go to on our website, cametobelieverecovery.org, and share what you're going through and get a sponsor and do the steps.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. CameToBelieveRecovery.org is the website. You listen to this podcast there. You can go to Zoom meetings there, get more information. And you can also look at upcoming retreats that might be in your area. And you can talk to the folks that Came to Believe and find out how to register for those things. Let me tell you, I promise you one thing. If you go to a Came to Believe retreat, you will not walk away the same. Absolutely guaranteed. All right. Alicia, thank you so much for sharing your experience, strength, and hope, and for everybody chiming in. Dale, thank you for being with us. Tom, thank you. Our closing song is by Jennifer Lewin, and it is entitled, interestingly enough, Recover. Here's Jennifer.
Everything God promised me, I recover it all. Lost time and energy, I recover it all. Purpose and destiny, I recover it all. I recover it all. Behold, I'm doing exchange for disappointments, through songs of joy you'll sing. Yeah, it's not too late for you. You haven't missed your moment. Appointed time is here to recover it all. Everything God promised me, I recover it all. Yours time and energy, I recover it all. Purpose and destiny, I recover it all. I recover it all. Steps of the righteous, they are ordered by God. Nothing just happens. It's working out for your good, yeah. It's not too late for you. You haven't missed your moment. Appointed time is here. I recover it all. Everything God promised me, I recover it all. Lost time and energy, I recover it all. Purpose and destiny, I recover it all. Yeah, I recover it all. I recover it all. Everything God promised me, I recover it all. Yeah, lost time and energy, I recover it all. Purpose and destiny, I recover it all. I recover it all. I recover it all. I recover it all. Yeah. I recover it all. I recover it all. I recover it all. It's not too late for It's not too late for It's not too late for
Came to Believe Recovery strives to create and promote opportunities for life-changing spiritual experiences for individuals and families suffering from all forms of addiction. For more information, help, and support, visit cametobelieverecovery.org. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be your host on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. And I would encourage you to like, bookmark, and subscribe to this show. When you do, you will join the Take 12 Recovery Radio family and will be notified of all of our recovery-focused shows throughout the week. Until our next broadcast, when we provide the essential spiritual tools needed to thrive by sharing our experience, our strength, and our hope through our stories of how we came to believe.
This has been a production of Take 12 Recovery Radio.
Yeah, kitty, kitty, kitty. Meow.
Woof, woof.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.